We've had interest rate increases from the Bank of Canada. We've had downward pressure continue on prices. Sales haven't been what they usually have been. And I'm here to let you know what's happened in the month of July and how that impacts you. One of the biggest changes that took place in the month of July was the Bank of Canada changing the overnight lending rate by a whopping 1%, increasing the overnight lending rate to 2.5%. This had a big change on mortgage lending rates, which obviously impacts people's ability to borrow money, impacts how much they can afford to spend. The average price of a property being sold in the GTA was about $1,075,000 in the month of July. This is up very slightly over last year, but I'm talking thousands of dollars. We saw almost about 5,000 sales. This is down significantly over last year, but that was a record-setting year. We haven't seen a real estate market like we saw in 2021 in a very, very, very long time. When we start to look at real estate on a more local basis, the biggest hits in the GTA were in the 416 and the detached home category, where home prices were down month over month by over $200,000. This is a big chunk. When we look at the 905, the big hits that we were seeing month over month were dampened a little bit in July. The average price of a detached home, for example, in the 905 only dropped by about 4%. We are seeing that trend continue where month over month since February when the market peaked, we are seeing prices counts and market activity just not be what it typically is. Overall in Toronto, I could dive into the numbers for the East End, the West End, and Central Toronto, but it's kind of all the same story. Central Toronto saw the biggest hits, but it's also the area of the city that has the most luxury real estate. When you look at the West End and the East End, obviously prices were still down a little bit, but when you look at everything as a whole, properties are still selling. Days on market is still under 30 days for most of the GTA. In terms of month of inventory, we're still only looking at about 1.2 months of inventory across the GTA, which would be considered extremely low. A balanced market would be considered 4 to 6 months of inventory. We're not even near that number. So what do you need to know if you're buying or selling real estate right now in the GTA? Homes are still selling, buyers are still buying because people need a place to live, and people have life changes that happen that cause real estate to be sold. But if you're buying, you have some opportunity, and if you're selling, you got to be a little bit more realistic. That's the update. If you have more questions, feel free to drop a comment below.